Hey everyone! So today I'm starting my modern hand lettering or modern calligraphy series. This is the first video of 5, and today I'm just going to be showing you guys some basic strokes or drills that you guys can practice to help develop muscle memory for your hand. So it's really going to provide you with a nice foundation for when we actually start lettering. It's going to help you understand upstrokes and downstrokes, and I'm also going to first go over some of the tools that you can get to do your hand lettering. Also, I just wanted to mention that if you haven't watched it already, I really recommend you check out my faux calligraphy or how to fake it calligraphy video that I did a few months ago. I will link that in the cards for you guys. I just highly recommend you checking that out first. It's great practice. Also, if you guys like this video, make sure that after you've watched it, you click that like button and also subscribe to my channel so you can keep up with this series as well as all of my other videos. So now let's get to those basic strokes. So first I wanted to go over some of the tools that are used to do hand lettering. And the first ones I'm going to show you guys are called water brushes, and these are my personal favorites. And they're really easy to use and come in different sizes. So as you can see, this one's a medium one and the other one is a small. And if you guys are interested in any of these tools that I'm going to be showing here, I will leave links in the description for you guys so you can easily find those and purchase them yourselves. So how these water brushes work is you just unscrew the cap along with the brush head, and then that opens up the reservoir that you can fill with water, and then you have a supply of water without having to redip your brushes. So that is why I love them. They're so convenient. And I just use my water brushes with watercolor paints because I'm an artist. That is what I have here, and they're really great because they come in many different colors. And you don't have to buy several different bottles. So I like to use these, and these are the pan watercolor paints that are a little bit harder to get now. Most watercolor paints come in tubes, but it's the exact same thing. One's just a cream form. You can also use these types of drawing inks here, which are great as well because they come in many different colors, and you can use those with the water brushes, or you can just use a regular brush, and you can use your regular brush with the watercolor paints as well. So the next tool that I want to show you guys is these markers. So these are dual-ended markers. One has a fine tip, which you won't really use that much unless you're doing faux calligraphy. And then the other end is a tapered brush-like end, which is what you probably will be using quite a bit since this is brush lettering. These ones here are considered illustration markers, but they're pretty much the same as the hand lettering markers that you can get. These ones I got when I was in college, which was quite a few years ago, and they still work. None of them have dried out, so these are really great. But as I said, I do prefer the water brushes. Alright, so there's 16 different strokes or drills that I'm going to be showing you guys in this video. And I just wanted to mention also that for some reason my camera isn't focusing where it's supposed to be focusing, so the video is a little bit blurry at first, but it does get better, so please just be a little bit patient with that. It will get better. So what you want to do, obviously, first is load your brush up with lots of pigment, whether you're using paint or you're using ink. You just want to make sure you have a nice loaded brush, or if you're using markers, obviously, you don't need to worry about this. And then once you've got it nice and filled with pigment, you're just going to drag the tip over the edge of the pan or dish that you're using for your ink, just to get a nice pointed tip. So the first stroke I'm going to be showing you guys is the upstroke, and the upstroke is very simple. Your pen is moving in an upward direction and your line is very thin. So the tip of your pen is barely touching the page, but you want to make sure that it's a nice consistent line and that your pen's not lifting, giving you a dashed line. So this is why you need to practice this to get a feel for your upstrokes. And also you want to practice having a consistent length of line, and we will get into the different lines, and you will have these lines or guides to help you out, but that's going to be in our next video. So for now, you don't need those. So the next stroke that I want to talk to you guys about and show you is the downstroke. So alternately to the upstroke, it's moving in a downward direction, and your downstrokes are always thick. So that is the #1 rule when it comes to modern calligraphy. Your upstrokes are always thin and your downstrokes are always thick. So what I want you to do is practice those I want you to fill pages of these strokes, and I will have prepared for you guys worksheets to help you guys get a little bit of a feel for them. So you'll be able to find those over on my blog, and I will leave a link in the description for that blog post where you can find them and download them and print them out for your own practicing. So the next thing I want you guys to practice is alternating between your upstroke and your downstroke. So thin upstrokes and thick downstrokes. So now my camera is finally focused, so that's much better. So the next stroke or drill is going to be going from a thin upstroke and curving down into your thick downstroke. So this is just going to help you move from one into the other. And then the next stroke is the opposite. So a thick downstroke moving into a thin upstroke. So these are great basic practices. So now moving on, we're going to do a bit of a combination of those two last drills. And we're going to go from a thin upstroke into a thick downstroke and then back up into a thin upstroke. And the next drill is just basically the opposite of that, from a thick downstroke to a thin upstroke and back to a thick downstroke. And you can already see how this is going to help you out. These ones look like the letter N. And now moving on to the next drill, it's a little bit different. These ones are pretty much the same as you would draw an O minus the little loop on the right hand side. But the way you draw an O, you're not going to be starting at the bottom or the top of the letter. You're starting sort of at the upper side. So you're starting your O in the upper right, going into a thin upstroke, and then back down to the left into a thick downstroke, and then back up into your thin upstroke to connect your line. So these are a great drill to practice. For the next stroke, it's just going to be basically a squiggly line and going from thin upstroke to thick downstroke and then back and forth. And up until now, the rest of our drills were all individual strokes, and these next several drills are going to be continuous drawing of lines, continuous drawing of the strokes. This really helps you get a feel for moving your pen in these different directions and creating a continuous line and really getting a feel for your tools. So moving into that next stroke, basically these are just loops, and you can also see that they look like E's. So starting in a thin upstroke and down into a thick downstroke, and then continuing to do that for several of these E's. And then the next stroke is basically just the opposite. And this drill is actually considerably harder than the previous loops, where you have your loops at the top. So I recommend really practicing those for a nice smooth transition from thin to thick. And then this next drill is just sort of a variation of the loops. It looks a little bit more like an L, so your loops are just a little bit taller. So now this next stroke looks kind of like doing waves, and obviously keeping in mind your thin upstrokes and thick downstrokes. And as I draw it, you can really see where this is going to help form certain letters like I's and U's. So here you can see that this shape here looks like an I, and then if you look a little bit further, you can see the U's pop out. So this next drill is almost the opposite of the previous one, where your strokes are curving in the opposite direction. And this will really be helpful when it comes to doing letters, again, U's, but also V's and W's. So now the next drill is going to be a bit of a combination of these two drills here, where the blue ones look sort of like N's and the pink ones look sort of like U's, and we're going to combine those. So we're going to go from doing an N into doing a U and back into doing an N. You can see where the N's and the U's show up. It's really going to help you practice that consistency with your upstrokes and downstrokes. And the same goes for the next drill, which is one of my favorites. I love doing these. They are simply doing a figure 8, but also this is basically what your S's look like. So you start with a thin upstroke, moving into a thick downstroke with a squiggle, and then a loop at the bottom, and then back into that shape once again. And you're just going to do those figure 8s or S's over and over. And then at the end here, you can see the S's. And as I said, S's are one of my favorites to do in modern hand lettering. I'm not sure exactly why, but I find them extremely satisfying. So that's the final drill, and as I said earlier in the video, I will have worksheets for each of these drills on my blog, and I will be leaving that link in the description for you guys to find, and you can print out those worksheets and practice on those just to get a feel for what you are trying to achieve. So check out the description box for that. So that's it for this video, guys. In the next video, I'll be teaching you guys some terminology, the anatomy of calligraphy, and we'll also get into uppercase lettering. So that's going to be a little bit more exciting than this one, although this is a very important video. Again, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share this video. As usual, I hope you guys have a super awesome day, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!